Listen carefully. Your life is not stuck because of bad luck, bad timing, or bad people. Your life is stuck because you have been operating at the same level of thinking, the same level of discipline, and the same level of standards for years. And here is the brutal truth. Your life will not change until you change the level you operate on. If you want a different life, you need a different identity, different habits, different standards, different expectations from yourself. This audiobook is not about motivation. Motivation fades. This is about leveling up your mindset, your habits, and your execution so completely that the old version of you becomes unrecognizable. Because the next level of your life is not waiting for luck. It's waiting for you to become the person who deserves it. Let's begin. Chapter 1, Stop Waiting, Start Becoming. Let's start with a truth most people never want to hear. Your life is not stuck because you lack potential. Your life is stuck because you keep waiting, waiting for the right time, waiting for motivation, waiting for confidence, waiting for someone to believe in you. And while you are waiting, your life is quietly standing still. That's the key. Waiting feels harmless. It feels responsible. It feels safe. But in reality, waiting is one of the most dangerous habits you can develop, because waiting turns days into months, months into years, and years into regret. Look around you. You will see talented people everywhere, intelligent people, creative people, people with incredible ideas, but they are still exactly where they were 5 years ago. Why? Because they are waiting, waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel confident, waiting for perfect conditions, but perfect conditions never come, and the truth is brutal. The world does not reward potential. The world rewards execution. You have a choice. You can spend your life preparing, planning, and waiting, or you can start becoming, because becoming does not happen through thinking. It happens through doing. Let's talk about the hidden addiction nobody wants to admit, the addiction to preparation. People disguise fear as preparation. They say, I need to learn more, I need to think about it, I need to plan it out. But the real reason is simple. They are afraid to start, afraid to look foolish, afraid to fail, afraid to be judged. So they stay in the safest place possible, planning, but planning without action is not productivity. It is procrastination wearing a suit. That's the key. If you want to level up your life, you must break the waiting habit. You must train yourself to move before you feel ready, because readiness is not a feeling. It is a result of action. Here is something most people misunderstand about confidence. They think confident people start confident. They believe confident people somehow wake up one day fearless, bold, and certain. That is a myth. Confidence does not come first. Action comes first. Confidence comes later. Say that again. Confidence is built through evidence, not intention. You become confident because you did something difficult yesterday. You become confident because you faced something uncomfortable last week. You become confident because you prove to yourself that you can survive challenges. Confidence is a receipt. It is proof of action. And if you have no evidence, you will always feel uncertain. That's the key. You cannot think your way into confidence. You must act your way into it. Think about learning to swim. You can watch videos. You can read books. You can study techniques. But until you get into the water, you cannot swim. And at first, it will feel awkward, uncomfortable, messy. That is the process. Every skill looks ugly in the beginning. Every expert once looked like a beginner, but beginners who take action become experts. Beginners who wait remain beginners forever. You have a choice: stay comfortable or start becoming. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful habits successful people share. They move fast, not reckless, not careless, but decisive. They shorten the distance between decision and action. This is what we call the immediate execution rule. The moment you decide something matters, you move, not next month, not next week, not someday. Now you write the first page, you send the message, you sign up for the class, you start the workout. Immediate execution, because hesitation is where momentum dies. That's the key. The longer you wait after making a decision, the weaker that decision becomes. Doubt creeps in. Fear grows louder. Excuses multiply. But action kills hesitation. The moment you move, something shifts inside you. Your brain begins to believe. Your identity begins to change. You stop seeing yourself as someone who plans. You start seeing yourself as someone who executes. And that identity shift changes everything. Most people think success comes from massive moments, big breakthroughs, big opportunities, big wins, but the truth is far less dramatic. Success is built in small moments. Moments where you choose action instead of delay. Moments where you choose courage instead of comfort. Moments where you stop waiting and start becoming. Every time you take action, you cast a vote for a new identity, a stronger identity, a disciplined identity, an unstoppable identity. And those votes begin to stack, day after day, action after action, decision after decision. That's the key. You are not becoming your future self all at once. You are becoming them one action at a time. Here is the uncomfortable reality. Nobody is coming to push you. Nobody is coming to rescue your potential. Nobody is coming to give you permission. You don't need their permission. You never did. The responsibility is yours, your growth, your discipline, your future. And that responsibility can feel heavy, but it is also powerful. Because if the responsibility is yours, so is the control. You have a choice: wait or move, delay or execute, remain who you are or become someone greater. Right now, somewhere in your life, there is something you have been postponing, something important, something meaningful, something that would move your life forward. You know what it is. And the only thing standing between you and that next level is hesitation. That's the key. Not lack of ability, not lack of opportunity, just hesitation. And hesitation is a habit, which means it can be broken. From this moment forward, adopt a new rule. When something matters, you move immediately. You stop negotiating with comfort. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop asking whether you feel ready, because readiness is built through action. Remember the phrase, confidence is built through evidence, not intention. Every action you take creates evidence. Evidence that you are capable. Evidence that you are disciplined. Evidence that you are becoming someone stronger. And the more evidence you collect, the harder it becomes to return to your old life. That's the transformation. That's the beginning of leveling up. You stopped waiting. You started becoming. But action alone is not enough, because action without higher expectations still produces average results. You stopped delaying. Now it's time to raise the bar, because the life you experience will always reflect the standards you accept. And that leads us to the next step in leveling up your life. Chapter 2: Raise your standards or accept your current life. Look carefully at your life. your health, your finances, your relationships, your discipline, your environment. None of these areas are accidents. They are reflections of something deeper, your standards. That's the key. Your life does not rise to your hopes, it rises to your standards. Most people spend years talking about what they want. They want better health, they want more money, they want stronger relationships, they want confidence, they want success, but wanting something means nothing. Because wanting does not create results. Standards create results. Say it again, you don't get what you want, you get what you tolerate. If you tolerate laziness, you will produce average work. If you tolerate excuses, your life will be full of unfinished goals. If you tolerate unhealthy habits, your body will reflect them. That's the key. Your life is a mirror of what you allow. Let's talk about a hard truth. Most people are not trapped by circumstances. They are trapped by low standards. They say they want more, but their daily behaviors say something else. They hit snooze instead of waking up early. They scroll instead of learning. They complain instead of improving. They start projects but never finish them. And slowly, quietly, they build a life they never intended, not because they lacked talent, but because they tolerated mediocrity. You have a choice. You can continue tolerating behaviors that keep you average, or you can raise your standards and change the direction of your life. Because the moment your standards change, your behavior must change. That's the key. Look at elite performers in any field, top athletes, top entrepreneurs, top leaders. They are not defined by motivation. They are defined by standards. Their standard says, I train even when I don't feel like it. Their standard says, I deliver excellence even when nobody is watching. Their standard says, I finish what I start. That's the difference. It's not about talent, it's about discipline. Say it again, it's not about talent, it's about discipline. The world is full of talented people who never raised their standards. And because they never raised their standards, their lives never rose either. Now it's time for something uncomfortable, a brutal self-audit. You cannot level up your life if you refuse to be honest about where you are. So ask yourself these questions. Where are you tolerating laziness? Where are you tolerating distractions? Where are you tolerating poor habits? Where are you tolerating low effort? Because every time you tolerate something below your potential, you reinforce that identity. You reinforce the identity of someone who accepts less. And identities are powerful. They shape every decision you make. That's the key. Your identity follows your standards. Think about someone who decides their health is non-negotiable, not a preference, not a wish, a standard. They don't exercise only when they feel motivated. They exercise because it's part of who they are. They don't eat well only when convenient. They eat well because it's their standard. That's what standards do. They remove negotiation. When something becomes a standard, it becomes automatic. There is no debate, no excuse, no delay, just execution. Now imagine applying that principle to every area of your life, your work, your discipline, your learning, your focus, your relationships. Imagine saying, my standard is excellence, my standard is consistency, my standard is growth. Suddenly your choices begin to shift, because every action must now match the standard you declared, and if it doesn't match, you feel the friction. That's the key. Standards create internal pressure to improve, but raising your standards does not mean making huge, dramatic changes overnight. That is where many people fail. They try to transform everything at once, and when they cannot maintain it, they collapse back into old habits. Real transformation happens differently. It happens through non-negotiables, small rules, strict rules, daily rules. For example, I wake up at the same time every day. I exercise at least 4 times per week. I read for 30 minutes daily. I finish what I start. These rules seem simple. But their power is enormous, because rules remove decision fatigue, rules remove excuses, rules create structure, and structure builds discipline. That's the key. Remember something important. Raising your standards will feel uncomfortable. Of course it will, because you are asking more from yourself than you asked yesterday. You are demanding more effort, more focus, more responsibility, but discomfort is not a signal to stop. It is a signal that you are growing. Growth always lives outside comfort. You have a choice: protect your comfort or upgrade your life. And here's something else you must understand. When you raise your standards, some people around you will feel uncomfortable, not because you are doing something wrong, but because your growth highlights their stagnation. They may question your discipline, they may mock your ambition, they may tell you to relax, but remember this: you don't need their permission. You never did. Your life is not a committee decision. Your standards are your responsibility. That's the key. Look 5 years into the future. There are 2 possible versions of your life. In the first version, nothing changes. You keep the same standards. You tolerate the same habits. You accept the same excuses. And 5 years from now, life looks almost identical. In the second version, something shifts. You raise your standards today. You demand more from yourself. You remove the behaviors that hold you back. And slowly, steadily, your life transforms. Your health improves. Your work improves. Your confidence grows. Your results compound. The difference between those 2 futures is not luck, it's standards, and you control them. You have a choice: accept your current life, or raise your standards and build a better one. From this moment forward, remember this phrase, say it often. Repeat it until it becomes part of your identity. You don't get what you want, you get what you tolerate. If you tolerate distractions, your progress will suffer. If you tolerate laziness, your potential will shrink. If you tolerate excuses, your goals will stay distant. But if you tolerate only discipline, if you tolerate only growth, if you tolerate only progress, your life will begin to rise to meet those expectations. That's the key. Standards shape behavior. Behavior shapes identity. Identity shapes destiny. And leveling up your life begins the moment you raise the bar. But raising standards alone is not enough. Because even with high standards, there will be days when motivation disappears. Days when discipline is the only force that keeps you moving forward. And that brings us to the real superpower behind every successful life. Chapter 3: Discipline is the real superpower. Let's destroy one of the most dangerous myths about success. The myth of motivation. People love motivation. They watch motivational videos. They listen to inspiring speeches. They wait for that emotional surge that makes them feel unstoppable. For a moment they feel powerful, ready, driven, but then something happens, the feeling fades, the energy disappears, and suddenly the work feels heavy again. That's the key. Motivation is temporary. It rises, it falls, it disappears exactly when you need it the most. And if your life depends on motivation, your progress will always be unstable. You will move forward when you feel good. You will stop when you feel tired. You will push when you feel inspired. You will quit when you feel uncomfortable. That is not a strategy for success. That is a recipe for inconsistency. You have a choice. You can build a life powered by feelings, or you can build a life powered by discipline. Discipline is different. Discipline does not ask how you feel. Discipline does not wait for inspiration. Discipline executes the plan every day. Especially on the days you don't feel like it. That's the key. Discipline separates professionals from amateurs. Amateurs wait for the right mood. Professionals work regardless of mood. Think about elite athletes. Do you believe they wake up every morning excited to train? Of course not. Some days they are tired. Some days they are sore. Some days they would rather stay in bed. But they train anyway, because champions understand something most people ignore. It's not about motivation, it's about discipline. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you going. Imagine two people trying to change their lives. The first person waits for motivation. When they feel excited, they work hard. But when motivation fades, they stop. Their progress becomes unpredictable. Start, stop, start again, stop again. Now imagine the second person. They rely on discipline. They follow their routine regardless of mood. They show up when they feel good. They show up when they feel tired. They show up when they feel bored. And because they show up consistently, something powerful begins to happen. Progress, small at first, but real. That's the beginning of the discipline loop. The discipline loop is simple. Action leads to progress. Progress leads to confidence. Confidence leads to more action. And that action leads to more progress. Say it clearly. Action, right arrow, progress, right arrow, confidence, right arrow, more action. That's the loop. But the loop only starts with discipline. Because without discipline, action never becomes consistent enough to produce results. And without results, confidence never grows. That's the key. Confidence is not built through positive thinking. Confidence is built through repeated evidence. And that evidence comes from disciplined action. Let's repeat a phrase that must become part of your mindset. Discipline builds the life motivation promises. Motivation promises transformation. Motivation promises success. Motivation promises growth. But discipline delivers those promises. Discipline wakes you up early. Discipline finishes the work. Discipline practices the skill. Discipline shows up again tomorrow. You don't need their permission. You don't need applause. You don't need someone watching, because discipline is internal. It is a contract you make with yourself. Now here is where discipline becomes even more powerful. It compounds. Most people underestimate the power of consistency. They believe success requires massive effort, huge bursts of productivity, extreme intensity, but intensity without consistency leads nowhere. That's the key. Daily consistency beats occasional intensity. Let's say someone works out intensely for 5 days, then stops for 3 weeks. Another person works out moderately 3 times every week for a year. Who wins? The consistent one, every time, because progress compounds through repetition, not bursts, not emotional spikes, repetition. The same rule applies to every area of life: learning, business, health, skill development, relationships. The person who improves slightly every day will eventually outperform the person who works intensely only when inspired. You have a choice: chase intensity or build consistency. And consistency is built through routines. Routines are the foundation of discipline. They remove decision-making. They remove negotiation. They remove excuses. When something becomes part of your routine, it stops feeling optional. It becomes automatic. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't debate whether you should do it. You just do it. Why? Because it is part of your routine. Now imagine applying that same automatic behavior to productive habits. Daily learning, daily training, daily focused work. Suddenly growth becomes inevitable because routine removes friction. That's the key. Routines make discipline sustainable. Many people fail because they rely on willpower alone, but willpower is limited. It gets exhausted. It fades throughout the day. That is why disciplined people design systems. They create schedules. They create routines. They eliminate distractions. They reduce the number of decisions required, because the less you rely on motivation and willpower, the more reliable your progress becomes. Remember this. It's not about motivation, it's about discipline. There will be days when discipline feels heavy, days when the work feels boring, days when the results seem far away. This is where most people quit, not because they cannot succeed, but because they cannot tolerate boredom. They crave excitement, but success is not exciting most of the time. Success is repetitive, simple, quiet, and consistent. That's the key. The people who win in life are the people who can repeat the right actions longer than everyone else. Look again at your life. Ask yourself a simple question. Where am I relying on motivation? Where am I waiting to feel inspired? Where am I delaying action because I don't feel ready? Because every time you depend on feelings, you surrender control of your progress. But discipline takes that control back. You move regardless of mood. You execute regardless of comfort. You improve regardless of doubt. You have a choice. Follow your feelings or follow your standards. Here is the transformation. When discipline becomes your habit, life changes, your work improves, your skills improve, your confidence grows, your opportunities multiply. And slowly, quietly, the gap between you and the average person begins to widen. Not because you are more talented, but because you are more consistent. That's the power of discipline. That's the real superpower. Because discipline turns effort into results, results into confidence, and confidence into unstoppable momentum. But discipline requires protection, because in the modern world, something is constantly trying to steal your attention, something designed to break your focus, something designed to weaken your discipline, and if you want to level up your life, you must learn how to eliminate it. Because the next enemy of your growth is distraction, and mastering your focus will determine how far your discipline can take you. Chapter 4. Eliminate the noise that is diluting your focus. There is a silent enemy destroying more potential today than laziness ever did. Distraction, not because people are incapable, not because they lack intelligence, but because their attention is constantly being pulled in 1,000 directions. Notifications, social media, endless scrolling, endless videos, endless information. Your brain never gets silence, your mind never gets depth, your focus never gets time to work. That's the key. Success requires concentration, but the modern world is designed to destroy concentration. And if you are not careful, you will spend your life feeling busy while accomplishing very little. Look around. You will see people who are constantly occupied, always checking their phone, always consuming something, always reacting to the next notification. They appear busy, But busyness is not productivity. Busyness is often just distraction in disguise. Someone can spend 8 hours working while constantly checking messages, scrolling through content, and switching tasks every few minutes. At the end of the day, they feel exhausted, but when they look at their results, very little has actually moved forward. That's the trap. Distraction creates the illusion of activity, but real progress requires focus, deep focus, undivided attention. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Most people are not failing because they lack discipline. They are failing because they never protect their attention. They allow every notification to interrupt them. They allow every message to pull them away. They allow every piece of content to hijack their mind. And slowly, over time, their ability to concentrate becomes weaker. That's the key. Focus is like a muscle. If you constantly interrupt it, it becomes weak. If you train it, it becomes powerful. And in today's world, focus has become a massive competitive advantage because very few people have it. Most people cannot concentrate on one task for more than a few minutes. Their mind jumps, their attention shifts, their discipline collapses. But the person who can sit down and work with deep concentration for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, that person becomes extremely dangerous in any field. Because focused effort multiplies productivity. You solve problems faster, you learn faster, you produce higher quality work. You improve skills faster than everyone around you. That's the key. Focus compresses time. Remember this phrase. Repeat it often. What you focus on grows. What you ignore fades. Focus on learning and your intelligence grows. Focus on discipline and your habits strengthen. Focus on opportunity and possibilities appear. But focus on distractions and your potential slowly fades. You have a choice. Feed your focus or feed your distractions. Think about how much attention you give away every day. A few minutes scrolling in the morning, a few minutes checking notifications, a few minutes watching random content. It doesn't feel significant, but these small fragments of attention add up. 10 minutes becomes 30, 30 becomes an hour becomes 3 hours, 3 hours every day becomes over 1,000 hours per year. That's the key. Distraction is not stealing minutes, it is stealing years. Years that could have been invested in learning, building, improving, creating, but instead they vanish into endless consumption. Now let's talk about transformation. If you want to level up your life, you must take control of your environment, because willpower alone is not enough. You must remove the triggers that constantly break your concentration. That means making some changes, real changes, practical changes. For example, turn off unnecessary notifications, not some of them, most of them. Your phone should not control your attention, you control it. Another step. Create distraction-free work blocks. Set a timer, 30 minutes, 60 minutes. During that time you do one thing, only one. No switching, no scrolling, no interruptions, just focus. That's the key. Single tasking is powerful, multitasking is a myth. Here is another powerful rule. Separate consumption from creation. Many people spend hours consuming content. Videos, posts, news, information, but they rarely create anything. They rarely build. They rarely produce. They rarely execute. And over time, this imbalance becomes dangerous, because constant consumption weakens your ability to think independently. That's the key. You must spend more time creating than consuming, more time building than scrolling. More time executing than watching. Now let's talk about your physical environment. Look at the space where you work. Is it organized or chaotic? Is it designed for focus or filled with distractions? Your environment trains your brain. If your workspace is full of interruptions, your focus will collapse. But if your environment supports concentration, your discipline becomes easier. That might mean clearing your desk, closing unnecessary tabs, putting your phone in another room. Simple changes, but powerful results, because environment shapes behavior. Remember this: you don't need their permission to protect your focus. You don't need permission to say no to distractions. You don't need permission to disconnect from noise. Your attention is your most valuable resource. Guard it, protect it, train it, because wherever your attention goes, your life follows. That's the key. Now imagine two people over the next 5 years. The first person spends hours every day distracted, scrolling, watching, reacting, jumping from one thing to another. The second person protects their attention. They focus deeply. They eliminate noise. They build uninterrupted work sessions every day. Who improves faster? Who learns more? Who produces better results? The answer is obvious. The focused person will dominate, not because they are smarter, but because they are concentrated. Leveling up your life requires energy, discipline, standards, but it also requires attention. Because if your focus is constantly scattered, your effort becomes diluted. Your progress slows, your potential remains unrealized. That's why eliminating noise is not optional, it is essential. Remember the rule: what you focus on grows, what you ignore fades. Focus on growth, ignore distractions, focus on progress, ignore noise. Focus on the work that matters, ignore the rest. You have a choice: protect your attention, or lose it to the endless distractions competing for your mind. Once you eliminate the noise, something powerful happens. Your progress becomes visible. Your improvements become measurable. And when you begin to see progress, motivation becomes less important, because progress itself becomes addictive. That is the next step in leveling up your life. Learning to fall in love with forward movement, small improvements, daily upgrades, relentless progress. And that brings us to the next chapter. Chapter 5: Become obsessed with progress. Most people fail for a simple reason. They are obsessed with perfection. They want the perfect idea, the perfect plan, the perfect moment, the perfect conditions. And while they are chasing perfection, nothing moves, projects never start, skills never develop. Dreams never become real. That's the key. Perfection is not the path to success. Progress is. If you want to level up your life, you must change what you chase. Stop chasing perfect. Start chasing progress. Perfection sounds noble. It sounds disciplined. But most of the time, perfection is just fear wearing a disguise. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of looking inexperienced. So instead of acting, people polish their plans forever. They research endlessly. They adjust the strategy again and again, but action never comes. That's the trap. Perfection delays execution, and delayed execution kills momentum. You have a choice. You can wait until everything is perfect, or you can start improving immediately, and improvement only comes from movement. Look at successful entrepreneurs. Very few of them launched something perfect. Their first version was rough, incomplete, sometimes messy, but they started. Then they improved, then they adjusted, then they improved again. That process is called iteration. Build, test, improve, repeat. That's the key. Progress comes from iteration, not perfection. Think about learning any skill: writing, business, fitness, public speaking, music. No one starts perfect. The first attempt is always awkward, uncomfortable, unimpressive, but every attempt teaches something. Every repetition sharpens the skill. Every failure reveals a lesson, and those lessons accumulate. Over time, improvement becomes visible, but only if you keep moving. That's why progress matters more than perfection, because progress builds momentum. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful principles in personal growth: the 1% rule, improving by just 1% every day. It sounds small, almost insignificant, but the mathematics of improvement are powerful. 1% better every day compounds dramatically over time, day after day, week after week, year after year. That's the key. Small improvements compound into massive transformation, but most people ignore small improvements. They want dramatic change, instant results, massive breakthroughs, and when those don't appear immediately, they quit. But progress rarely looks dramatic in the beginning. It looks quiet, subtle, almost invisible. But if you stay consistent long enough, the results become undeniable. Repeat this phrase, memorize it, let it guide your actions. Better every day beats perfect someday. Better every day. One improvement, one adjustment, one step forward. Better every day beats perfect someday, because someday rarely arrives. But today always does. You have a choice: wait for someday or improve today. Let's make this practical. What does daily progress actually look like? It looks like writing one more page than yesterday. It looks like practicing your craft for 30 minutes instead of 0. It looks like learning one new concept. It looks like making one uncomfortable decision that pushes your growth forward. These are not dramatic actions, but they are powerful, because when repeated daily, they reshape your future. That's the key. Consistency transforms small effort into large results. But there is another problem many people face. They cannot see their progress, and when progress feels invisible, motivation disappears. That's why tracking matters. Tracking progress creates clarity. It turns vague effort into measurable improvement. For example, if you want to improve your fitness, track workouts, track strength, track endurance. If you want to improve your productivity, track focused work hours, track completed tasks, track output. Numbers reveal reality. That's the key. Metrics create accountability. Metrics reveal progress. And when you see progress, something powerful happens. You become motivated to continue. Think about playing a video game. Why do people stay engaged? Because progress is visible. Levels, scores, achievements, feedback. Your brain loves measurable improvement. And you can use that same principle in your real life. Track your habits, track your learning, track your performance. Every small improvement becomes evidence. Evidence that you are moving forward. Evidence that your effort matters. And that evidence strengthens your discipline. Remember something important. Progress does not require permission. You don't need their permission to improve. You don't need approval to start building. You don't need validation to take the next step. Your progress belongs to you. Your growth belongs to you, and the responsibility is also yours. That's the key. You are the architect of your improvement. Now imagine two people again. The first person waits for perfection. They delay action. They plan endlessly. They worry about doing things wrong. The second person chases progress. They take action quickly. They adjust along the way. They improve every day. After 1 year, who will be ahead? The answer is obvious. The person who chased progress will have thousands of repetitions, thousands of lessons, thousands of improvements. While the perfectionist is still preparing, you have a choice. Prepare forever or progress relentlessly. Leveling up your life requires momentum, and momentum comes from visible improvement, from consistent effort, from daily upgrades, not dramatic breakthroughs, but steady advancement. Remember the phrase, better every day beats perfect someday, better today than yesterday, better tomorrow than today. And if you continue that pattern long enough, something powerful happens. Your old life becomes unrecognizable. Your skills sharpen, your confidence grows, your opportunities multiply, all because you chose progress over perfection. But as your progress becomes visible, something else will happen. People will start watching. Some will support you, some will question you, some will criticize you, because growth makes others uncomfortable. And if you are not careful, their opinions can slow your progress. Which brings us to the next challenge on the path to leveling up your life. Learning to stop seeking approval from people who never pursued their own potential. Because validation from the wrong people can quietly destroy your ambition. And that is exactly what we must talk about next. Chapter 6. Stop seeking validation from the wrong people. There is a silent chain holding back more ambition than failure ever could. Approval, the need to be liked, the need to be understood, the need to be validated, and most people never realize how much it controls them. They say they want to level up, they say they want success, they say they want growth, but the moment someone questions them, they hesitate. The moment someone doubts them, they slow down. The moment someone criticizes them, they shrink. That's the trap of approval. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Many people are not afraid of failure. They are afraid of judgment. They are afraid of looking foolish, afraid of being misunderstood, afraid of disappointing others. So instead of pursuing their full potential, they pursue approval. They soften their goals. They dilute their ambition. They stay small enough to stay accepted. That's the key. If your ambition requires universal approval, you will never move far, because growth makes people uncomfortable, especially the ones who never tried. Look at history. Innovators were criticized. Creators were doubted. Entrepreneurs were told their ideas would fail. Artists were told they weren't talented enough. Athletes were told they weren't good enough. In the beginning, almost no one believes in something new. That's how growth works. The people who change their lives are often misunderstood first, criticized first, doubted first, and the loudest critics. They are often the least accomplished. Why? Because criticism is easier than courage. It's easier to analyze from the sidelines than to step into the arena. That's the key. People who are not building will often criticize those who are. You have a choice. You can build your life based on your mission, or you can build it based on other people's comfort. But you cannot do both. If you constantly adjust your goals to avoid criticism, you will remain average. If you constantly wait for approval before acting, you will remain stuck. An average feels safe, but average is expensive. It costs you your potential. Here is something you must understand clearly. You don't need their permission not to start, not to improve, not to grow, not to take risks. You don't need their permission to change your habits. You don't need their permission to dream bigger. You don't need their permission to level up. That's the key. Permission seeking is a subtle form of procrastination. It delays action. It weakens conviction. It hands your power to someone else. Now let's talk about internal validation. Because if you remove the need for external approval, you must replace it with something stronger. Self-respect, personal standards, internal conviction. You must learn to respect your own mission more than other people's opinions. Say it clearly. Respect your own mission more than other people's opinions. If you don't respect your mission, you will abandon it the moment someone questions it. If you don't believe in your direction, every comment will shake you. That's why clarity matters. You must know why you are doing what you are doing. You must know what you stand for. You must know what you refuse to compromise. That internal clarity becomes armor. Let's make this practical. The next time someone questions your ambition, ask yourself one question. Are they living the life I want? If the answer is no, their opinion should carry less weight. Not because they are bad people, but because advice should be filtered. Criticism should be filtered. Not all voices deserve equal influence. That's the key. You must choose whose opinions matter, and most opinions do not. Now understand something deeper. Seeking approval often comes from insecurity. The need to be reassured, the need to be praised, the need to feel accepted. But real growth requires emotional independence. It requires the ability to move forward without applause, to work without recognition, to build without validation. That is strength. That is maturity. That is discipline. It's not about ego, it's about discipline. Discipline to stay committed to your path even when others don't understand it. There will be moments when growth feels lonely, when your friends don't relate anymore, when your goals seem extreme to others, when your habits look intense. That's normal. Growth creates separation, not because you are better, but because you are different, and different always attracts attention. You have a choice: shrink to stay comfortable, or stand firm and keep building. Here is a powerful shift. Instead of asking, do they approve? Start asking, am I aligned? Aligned with your standards, aligned with your goals, aligned with your values. If the answer is yes, keep going. That's the key. Alignment matters more than approval, because approval changes, opinions change, trends change. But alignment with your mission creates consistency, and consistency builds success. Remember this phrase again. Respect your own mission more than other people's opinions. When you wake up early and others question it, respect your mission. When you say no to distractions and others call you boring, respect your mission. When you invest in yourself and others don't understand, respect your mission. Because at the end of the day, you live with your results, not them. You carry your regrets, not them. You experience your future, not them. That's the key. Leveling up your life requires courage, not just the courage to act, but the courage to be misunderstood, the courage to disappoint expectations, the courage to stand alone when necessary. And that courage grows when you stop outsourcing your confidence, when you stop depending on applause, when you stop seeking validation from people who never pursued their own growth. You have a choice: chase approval or chase your potential, and you cannot chase both at the same time. The moment you stop seeking validation from the wrong people, something powerful happens. Your energy returns, your focus sharpens, your decisions become clearer. Because you are no longer filtering every action through someone else's opinion. You act faster, you think independently, you build confidently, and that independence accelerates growth. But there is one more force that shapes your growth more than opinions ever will: your environment, the people around you, the standards around you, the expectations around you. Because even if you silence critics, your environment can either expand your ambition or quietly shrink it. And if you want to level up completely, you must master that influence. Chapter 7. Think bigger than your current environment. Your environment is quietly shaping your life, every day, every hour, every decision, and most people don't realize how much it controls them. That's the key. Your environment either shrinks you or expands you. It defines what you believe is possible. It dictates what you tolerate. It programs what you accept as normal. Look around. Who are the people you spend most of your time with? What kind of energy fills your home, your workspace, your social circle? What conversations do you hear on repeat? Your answers are not trivial. They are shaping your standards. Your environment trains your standards. Think about it. If you spend your time around people who play small, you will play small. If you are surrounded by mediocrity, excuses, and fear, you will absorb it slowly, almost unconsciously. You might be talented, you might be disciplined, you might have huge potential, but your environment is like gravity. It pulls you toward the average, toward comfort, toward what everyone else believes is possible. That's the trap. And here's the brutal truth. Most people never surpass the level of thinking and ambition of the people they spend the most time with. You have a choice. You can remain anchored to an environment that limits you, or you can seek environments that expand what you believe is possible. Exposure expands possibility. Look at high achievers, entrepreneurs, athletes, creators, leaders. One of the reasons they achieve what others can't is simple. They spend time around people who operate at a higher level. They see success in action. They see execution in real time. They see the discipline required to achieve extraordinary results. And when you see it, your mind stops arguing. Your limits adjust. Your mental ceiling rises. Your standards expand. That's the key. If you've only ever seen small wins, small effort, and small results, your brain will naturally assume that's all that's possible. Now let's make it practical. Step 1. Audit your environment. Who do you talk to most? What kind of conversations dominate your day? What attitudes do you absorb without realizing it? Write it down. Be honest. If negativity, laziness, or small thinking dominates your circles, you must take action. You have a choice. You don't need their permission. You can redefine your circle. Start spending more time with people who inspire you. People who push themselves, people who challenge you, people who have accomplished what you want to achieve, because energy is contagious, ambition is contagious, discipline is contagious. Step 2. Design your growth environment. This is not just about people, it's about physical space, it's about routines. It's about the information you consume. Your environment trains your standards. Clear clutter, remove distractions, fill your space with tools, books, and resources that reinforce growth. Consume content that teaches, stretches, and challenges you. Limit content that numbs or distracts you. Every choice you make about your environment is a vote for the person you are becoming. Here's something many people overlook. Your environment doesn't just affect your actions, it affects your identity. If you surround yourself with ambitious, disciplined people, you will begin to see yourself differently. If you surround yourself with complacency, excuses, and fear, you will begin to shrink. Identity is shaped by what you are exposed to every day, who you meet, what you watch, what you listen to, what you tolerate. Your environment is programming your future. You have a choice. Step 3. Think bigger than your current environment. This requires courage, because your current circle may resist your growth. Your old friends may question your ambition. They may tease you. They may try to pull you back to their comfort zone. And here's where most people fail. They let comfort dictate growth. You have a choice. You don't need their permission. You can pursue higher levels even if it makes others uncomfortable. Think bigger, read bigger, meet bigger, dream bigger. Push beyond the invisible limits that your current environment has unconsciously set for you. Exposure to higher levels changes your mental limits. You cannot achieve what you cannot imagine, and imagination is shaped by your environment. When you see someone else doing it, achieving it, living it, your mind begins to accept it as possible. That's the power of strategic exposure. The people you meet, the content you consume, the places you go, they are all shaping the range of what you believe is possible. Now, here's the practical application. 1. Identify the highest performing people in your desired field. 2. Find ways to spend time with them. Mentorship, networking, collaboration. 3. Consume their ideas, books, podcasts, interviews. Absorb their habits. 4. Limit time with people or content that normalize mediocrity. Do not underestimate this. Your environment will either accelerate your growth or quietly erode it. You have a choice. Another crucial point: your environment also shapes your standards. People adopt the expectations of those around them. If everyone tolerates laziness, your tolerance grows. If everyone accepts excuses, you will start accepting excuses. That's why proximity matters. Proximity to excellence teaches you excellence. Proximity to excuses teaches you excuses. You cannot escape this. Your environment is constantly teaching, so choose your teachers wisely. Think bigger than your current environment. Push beyond comfort. Raise your standards. Seek exposure to higher levels of performance and ambition. Design spaces, routines, and relationships that reinforce growth. Your environment trains your standards, and your standards shape your actions. Your actions define your identity. Your identity determines your results. That's the key. Leveling up your life requires breaking free from the gravitational pull of average. Your environment is the strongest gravity you will ever face. Control it, design it, expand it, because no matter how disciplined you are, no matter how motivated you are, no matter how high your standards, if your environment keeps pulling you down, you will struggle. And that leads to the next step. Because even with the right environment, there is one universal constant that accelerates growth faster than almost anything else. Chapter 8. Master your time like your life depends on it. Time is the great equalizer. Everyone gets the same 24 hours, no exceptions, no excuses, yet most people squander it. They trade it for meaningless distractions, scrolling, meetings that produce nothing, gossip, busy work. And here's the brutal truth: money lost can return, time lost cannot. Once it's gone, no refunds, no retries, no second chances. That's the key. Time is your most valuable asset. If you do not protect it, you will never reach your potential. Most people claim they are too busy, but busyness is not productivity. It is a badge of distraction. It is a symptom of poor prioritization. They fill their days with urgent but meaningless tasks, tasks that feel important but do not move the needle. They are exhausted at the end of the day, yet their progress remains minimal. That's the trap. You have a choice: use time intentionally or let it slip away. The first rule is this: schedule your priorities. Don't prioritize your schedule. Most people do the opposite. They open their calendar and react to everything: meetings, notifications, emails, social obligations. Their day controls them. Successful people do the opposite. They identify their highest value actions. They schedule those first. Everything else fits around what truly matters. That's the key. If it's not moving your life forward, it moves it backward. Let's get practical. Step 1. Identify your top priorities: business goals, health, learning, relationships. Ask yourself, what are the 3-5 activities that, if completed consistently, will transform my life? Write them down. Make them non-negotiable. These are your time anchors. Everything else becomes secondary. That's the priority principle. Step 2. Ruthlessly eliminate the rest. Every activity that doesn't serve your top priorities is a thief of time. Social media scrolling, gone. Unnecessary meetings, gone. Endless busy work, gone. Even well-meaning distractions, TV, low-value content, small talk, must be evaluated. Ask yourself, does this move me forward? If the answer is no, remove it. Repeat after me: if it doesn't move your life forward, it moves it backward. Say it until it becomes a mantra. Your time is not infinite. Your energy is not infinite. Be ruthless. Step 3. Schedule your work in blocks. Deep focus is not spontaneous. It requires structure. Set dedicated time for high-value activities. No phone, no notifications, no interruptions. Protect this time like a fortress. Even 90-minute focused sessions can produce more than a whole day of distracted effort. That's the key. Time without focus is wasted. Focus without priority is wasted. Master both, and you gain unstoppable leverage. Now let's address a common excuse: I have too many responsibilities. Everyone has responsibilities. High performers do not escape obligations. They prioritize them. Some tasks are delegated, some are automated, some are eliminated. You cannot do everything. You must choose, and you must choose ruthlessly. Because every choice to spend time on something trivial is a choice to lose momentum on what matters most. That's the key. You have a choice: move toward your life or move away from it. Step 4. Batch your tasks. Group similar activities together. Emails, calls, errands, learning. Handle them in focused blocks. This reduces decision fatigue. It preserves energy for what truly matters. Your brain is not designed to switch constantly between tasks. Multitasking destroys productivity. Single tasking, focused execution, multiplies results. Step 5. Track your time. You cannot improve what you do not measure. Write down how your hours are spent for a week. Where is your attention going? Where are you wasting energy? Where can you cut unnecessary tasks? Metrics create clarity. Clarity drives action. Action compounds results. And that is the path to mastery of your most valuable resource. Now consider this. A CEO with $1 billion company has the same 24 hours as a college student. What separates them is not talent. It is how they treat time. Every decision is intentional. Every hour has a purpose. Every action aligns with their highest priorities. They do not give away attention freely. They protect it. They invest it. And over time, this disciplined use of time produces massive results. You have a choice: follow the crowd and waste your hours, or manage your time like your life depends on it and watch exponential growth. Here's a hard truth: time cannot be borrowed. Time cannot be earned back. Every wasted hour is a lost opportunity to learn, to grow, to produce, to improve. Every distraction is a drag on your progress, and progress is the currency of success. Master your time, and you control the currency of your life. Fail to master it, and you hand your life to chance. Step 6. Treat time as sacred. Every morning ask, what matters most today? Every decision ask, does this serve my priorities? Every hour remind yourself, if it doesn't move me forward, it moves me backward. This is not optional. It is discipline. It is focus. It is how high performers consistently win while others struggle. Step 7. Build a daily routine that enforces priority. Wake early. Plan your day around your highest value actions. Protect blocks of deep focus. Eliminate distractions. Review your progress at the end of the day. Rinse and repeat. This simple structure turns time from a thief into an ally. That's the key. Your environment, your attention, your discipline all converge in how you use time. Finally, think long-term. 1 hour wasted today is a lost hour you will never recover. 1 hour invested in growth compounds over weeks, months, and years. High performers understand this intuitively. They respect time more than money, because they know money can be replaced, time cannot. You have a choice every day. Every hour, every minute. Spend it intentionally or waste it unintentionally. And this leads directly to the next principle in leveling up your life: the ability to make tough choices consistently, without excuses, without delay. Chapter 9. Reinvent your identity. Your results are not random. They are not luck. They are the product of who you believe you are. Identity drives behavior, not motivation, not tools, not luck. Identity. Every action you take flows from your self-concept. You act like the person you believe yourself to be. If you see yourself as lazy, you will procrastinate. If you see yourself as average, you will settle. If you see yourself as disciplined, you will take action even when you don't feel like it. That's the key. Your identity is the root of transformation. Most people try to change outcomes without changing identity. They say, I want to be disciplined. I want to be rich. I want to be confident. But saying it is not enough. Desire alone does not create results. Action without identity is temporary. It fizzles. Because deep down, you are still acting like the old version of yourself. You are still proving to the world and to yourself that you are someone you aren't yet. And that disconnect causes inconsistency, frustration, and failure. Here's the powerful shift, the identity upgrade. Stop saying, I want to be disciplined. Start saying, I am a disciplined person. Stop saying, I want to be fit. Start saying, I am an athlete. I honor my body every day. Stop saying, I want to be a high performer. Start saying, I am a high performer. I show up relentlessly. Every statement about identity reshapes your self-image. Every statement about identity changes your choices. Think about it. If you act as a disciplined person, you make decisions differently. You show up even when tired. You execute even when unmotivated. You prioritize long-term results over short-term comfort. You don't negotiate with yourself. You don't compromise with excuses. You act in alignment with your new identity. And the more you act, the stronger your identity becomes. That's the key. Behavior reinforces identity. Identity reinforces behavior. It's a loop, a powerful, unstoppable loop. Here is the evidence rule. Every action is a vote for the person you are becoming. Every small decision, every daily habit, every choice. Eating healthy is a vote for a disciplined body. Writing for 30 minutes is a vote for a professional writer. Waking up early is a vote for a high performer. Skipping your workout is a vote for laziness. Watching mindless content is a vote for distraction. Missing deadlines is a vote for mediocrity. Every action counts. Every vote matters. The person you become is the sum of your votes. Let's make this practical. Step 1. Declare your new identity. Decide clearly who you want to be, not what you want to do. Not what you want to have, who you are becoming. Step 2. Act like that person today. Do not wait for motivation. Do not wait for the right moment. Take immediate action. Every action confirms your identity. Step 3. Track your votes. Every time you do something that aligns with your new identity, mark it. Every vote strengthens your self-image. Every vote compounds over time. Let's address a common objection, but I feel like a fraud. Good. That feeling is normal. It's called cognitive dissonance. You are acting as someone you aren't yet. Every time you act as your upgraded self, you shrink the gap between who you are and who you want to be. Fraud feelings are temporary. Results are permanent. Keep voting for your new identity. Here's a real-world example. Athletes don't start every season feeling confident and disciplined. They act disciplined before they feel it. They follow the routine even when unmotivated. They train in alignment with their identity as an athlete. Over time, identity catches up to action. They become the person they've been voting for all along. That's the evidence rule in action. Another example, high-performing entrepreneurs. They don't wait to feel like a CEO. They act like a CEO. They make decisions decisively. They take responsibility for failures. They show up every day. They handle stress like a CEO. They lead like a CEO. And over time, the identity matches the actions. Identity upgrade is not limited to career or money. It applies to health, relationships, mindset, and habits. If you want to be confident, act confidently. If you want to be disciplined, act disciplined. If you want to be courageous, take courageous action. Your life will never change until you see yourself differently. Your results are merely reflections of your self-image. You have a choice. Remain who you've been or reinvent yourself. Step 4. Protect your identity votes. Guard your habits. Guard your routines. Guard your environment. Each vote you cast strengthens or weakens your identity. Do not allow distractions, negativity, or low standards to dilute your votes. Every choice matters. Every day counts. Every action compounds. Remember this phrase. Every action is a vote for the person you are becoming. If you want a life of discipline, act disciplined. If you want a life of health, act healthy. If you want a life of high performance, act like a high performer. Your identity is not what you say. It is what you do. Finally, this is the ultimate leverage point. If you master your identity, you control your behavior, your habits fall into place, your choices align naturally, your discipline becomes automatic, your results become inevitable. You have a choice: stay who you are, or reinvent yourself completely. Once your identity is upgraded, everything else follows. your actions, your habits, your environment, your results. Identity drives behavior, behavior compounds into results, and results reinforce your identity. That's the unstoppable loop of transformation. And it sets the stage for the final chapter, where we bring every principle together into unstoppable momentum. Chapter 10, Execute Relentlessly. Ideas are cheap. Everyone has them. Every day people sit around thinking about what they could do. They dream, they plan, they brainstorm, they strategize. But here's the truth. Ideas are worthless without execution. That's the key. The world rewards implementation, not intention. Not thought, not inspiration, not hope. Action is the currency of results. If you want to level up your life, you must do more than think. You must execute relentlessly. Most people fail because they wait for permission. They wait for clarity. They wait for motivation. They wait for the perfect time. They convince themselves, I'll start tomorrow. Then tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. Next month becomes next year. And nothing changes. You have a choice, start now or stay stagnant. Execution waits for no one. Let's talk about momentum. Momentum is built by relentless action. Small steps repeated consistently produce unstoppable force. Compare two people. One has talent but is inconsistent. The other has modest skill but takes action every day. Who do you think wins? Every single time, the consistent actor outruns the talented procrastinator. Because action compounds, because momentum builds, because execution beats talent that waits. That's the key. Relentless execution is not glamorous. It's not exciting. It's repetitive. It's boring. It's doing the work when no one is watching. It's showing up on days you feel tired. It's pushing forward when no immediate reward is visible. This is where champions are made. This is where ordinary people separate from the extraordinary. Here's a simple but powerful mantra. Your future is built by what you do daily, every decision. Every action, every hour. What you do today creates tomorrow's reality, not tomorrow's motivation, not tomorrow's plan. Today, right now, the accumulation of small, disciplined actions is unstoppable. Let's make this practical. Step 1. Break your big goals into daily execution steps. What can you do today that directly moves you toward your objective? Write it down. No excuses, no debate, just action. Step 2. Remove friction. Make the work unavoidable. Schedule it. Protect it. Automate distractions. If it matters, make it non-negotiable. Step 3. Commit to consistency. Execution without repetition is temporary. Consistency compounds. Relentless execution compounds exponentially. The most successful people do not rely on inspiration. They rely on discipline. They rely on habit. They rely on showing up day after day, even when it's hard, boring, or uncomfortable. That's the key. Execution is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. The stronger it becomes, the easier it is to act when challenges arise. Think about entrepreneurs who built massive companies. Their ideas alone did not create wealth. Their vision alone did not move markets. It was execution. They acted before the perfect plan existed. They iterated quickly. They solved problems on the fly. They executed relentlessly while others debated endlessly. And eventually, they outran every competitor who hesitated. Relentless execution also builds confidence. Each completed task, each action taken, proves to yourself that you are capable. Momentum feeds motivation. Action creates belief. Execution strengthens identity. Every time you act, you are casting a vote for the person you are becoming. Every action reinforces discipline. Every completed task compounds into capability. There is no substitute for doing the work. Thinking, planning, analyzing, they are necessary, but if they are not paired with action, they are wasted energy. You have a choice: do the work, or watch your potential fade. Ideas without execution are meaningless. Dreams without execution are illusions. Goals without execution are forgotten. Execution separates winners from wishful thinkers. That's the key. Here's the brutal truth: you will never feel fully ready. You will never feel fully confident. You will never feel fully motivated. Waiting for that feeling is a trap. Execution creates readiness. Execution creates confidence. Execution creates momentum. Start moving, start building, start acting now. Non-negotiable work ethic is the foundation. Decide that some actions are mandatory. Showing up, completing tasks, doing the grind, non-negotiable. No excuses, no exceptions, even on hard days, even when you feel uninspired, even when progress is slow. This is how ordinary actions become extraordinary results. Step 4. Eliminate procrastination triggers. Identify what distracts you: social media, perfectionism, over-planning. Remove them. Replace them with action-oriented behaviors. Every hour spent not executing is an hour lost forever. Every minute you hesitate compounds into lost opportunities. Your future depends on what you do right now, not tomorrow, not next week. Here's a real-world example. Writers who publish every day outpace brilliant writers who never finish. Investors who take calculated action outperform analysts who only study. Athletes who train consistently outperform athletes with sporadic talent. Execution compounds faster than talent or intelligence. Relentless action separates potential from reality. You have a choice: act relentlessly or remain average. Step 5. Treat execution as sacred. Your plans, your goals, your dreams, they only materialize through doing. Every task you complete strengthens your trajectory. Every delayed action weakens it. Every avoided responsibility compounds regret. The most successful people honor execution above all else. Remember this phrase again: your future is built by what you do daily, your habits, your work ethic, your decisions. Each action is a building block. Each block compounds. Each block shapes your life. So today, stop planning endlessly. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop debating and hesitating. Start executing relentlessly. Act on your priorities. Move forward every day. Stack your actions. Build momentum. Because in the end, success is not reserved for the most talented. It is reserved for those who act, those who do not quit, those who execute relentlessly, day after day, week after week, year after year. You have a choice: execute relentlessly, or stay where you are. Your results will reflect your choice. Level up your life starts with action. And now, you are ready to take everything you've learned and turn it into unstoppable momentum. Now you understand the truth. Leveling up your life is not about luck. It's not about waiting for opportunity. And it's definitely not about hoping things magically improve. Leveling up your life is about raising your standards, strengthening your discipline, protecting your focus, and executing every single day. You stop waiting, you stop explaining, you stop negotiating with laziness, you build habits that force progress, You surround yourself with higher expectations, and you become the person who refuses to stay average. Remember this: you don't get what you wish for, you don't get what you hope for. You get what you consistently work for. The next level of your life is not hidden. It is built, decision by decision, action by action, day by day. So here is your challenge. When this audiobook ends, do one thing immediately that your old self would have delayed. One action. One step forward. One decision that proves you are not the same person anymore. Because the people who level up in life are not the ones who listen the most. They are the ones who execute the fastest. Your next level starts now.